Whether you are an entrepreneur, a career-driven woman, or if you stay at home, there are always things that need to get done. We can't just sit around outside lounging all day, unfortunately. So here are some tips for how to stay in your feminine energy, even when you're out there achieving your goals, getting stuff done, and just being productive. Hello friends, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Jillz. Hi, nice to meet you. And I talk about things like feminine energy, self-improvement, and wellness for women. So if that's something you want to learn more about, you should absolutely hit that red subscribe button below and join the community. So I love talking about feminine energy, and I think being connected to your own femininity is one of the best things you can do as a woman. But the part that gets a little bit tricky is trying to balance this with work and productivity. But before I talk about some ways we can stay more feminine when we're getting stuff done, I first want to remind you all that we all have both masculine and feminine energy within us. And it's okay to embrace some of your masculine side. Your masculine is not a threat to your feminine, and it can actually help you to become a well-rounded person. However, the problem is that most women embrace their masculine side too much, and they get stuck there, and they never fully take advantage of the feminine strengths that we have that we're just naturally more attuned to. And if you are an innately feminine woman, which most women are, if you stay in that masculine energy for too long, it's going to feel very heavy and draining and lead to a really unsatisfying and unfulfilling life. And a lot of people think they have to be in their masculine for work, and then they go home and turn it off and go in their feminine. But the real truth is that your feminine side of you can actually be really beneficial for things like work and productivity. It just tends to look different and feel different. And it usually does require a bit more flexibility and a shift in perspective. So let's get into the different tips I have for this. Just keep in mind that some tips might work better for some tasks and other tips might work better for others. Just use whatever kind of resonates with you most. So one of the biggest ways you can shift from your masculine into your feminine when you're doing work or tasks that you need to do, or just trying to achieve those goals, is to switch your perspective. You can do the exact same task, but come at it with a more feminine approach and perspective. Instead of thinking about the final outcome that you're trying to achieve, instead of just thinking about that end goal that you want so badly, instead of thinking about just crossing off that to-do so you can be done and finished, instead focus on the process. Be really present in the process and focus on the act of creation. One very powerful thing about the feminine is that they create. They birth life. They turn these random inputs into something incredible. And you can even see this physiologically too. We can take one little sperm and turn it into a full-fledged human. The feminine can create beauty and art and life in everything that we do. So instead of checking off to-dos and racing through the tasks for the day, you're doing something more. And I want to explain this using examples. So let's say that you need to cook your family dinner, or you need to cook yourself dinner after a long day of work, whatever it is. So instead of thinking about how, I'm so hungry, I just want to be done, I want to get this meal done, I don't care about the actual process, I just want to eat. You can do it that way, or you can see it as an act of creation. You can slow down and enjoy the process. You can have fun putting all of these random ingredients together and turning it into a nourishing meal. You can create something wonderful. You can create art. Or if you are running your own business or starting your own business, every little thing that you do is actually just resulting in creation. You are birthing this new business into reality. Again, you are creating, and this process of creation is the feminine. Or even if you just need to clean your house, you can do it by just running around and kind of feeling hectic, you trying to get everything together. Or you can look at it as you creating a beautiful home. You're creating a beautiful and comforting space to live in. You're creating beauty and art in your surroundings. Now, I wouldn't say that you can apply this perspective to everything that you do, but you can apply this perspective to a lot of what you do. And it can help you stay in your feminine and prevent you from getting stressed out. Another thing that's huge that helps you to stay in your feminine and really use your feminine strengths to your advantage is to let your inspiration and intuition guide you as much as possible. Your feminine intuition is your strength, and I can argue that I think it is your biggest strength. But I think a lot of women think that your intuition is more like just for personal life or things like that, but you can actually really use it for work and business too. There's a time and a place for analytics and logic and practicality, and there's also a time and a place for throwing that all out the window and doing what feels right. The world lives in a very masculine way, and it's like the only way that we can make acceptable decisions, especially for things relating to like work and things like that, that is by examining the numbers and looking at the charts and weighing the pros and cons. And there's absolutely 100% a time and a place for that. That can be very valuable, but don't throw your intuition out the window. The feminine is naturally more in tune with the energy of the situation, even if they don't fully realize it. And we can get impulses and intuitive hits from this energy. And feeling their way through a situation can also be incredibly valuable. Your inspiration and intuition can guide you in a subtle way with things like, what should I be focusing my time on right now? Or I feel like something's not right here, what should I change? Or I know I'm supposed to do this, but for some reason I feel like I should do this. Or something like, this would be the next logical step in my career, but for some reason my heart's telling me to go this direction. These little intuitive hits and sparks of inspiration can guide you in a way that analytics and logic can't. It can help guide you to make more money. It can help guide you to have a better family and home life. It can help guide you to have a more fulfilling and more aligned family and or work life. And the wonderful thing about using your intuition is that it's not really work. You have to listen to it, but besides that, it's just kind of there. It just comes. As a feminine woman, you get to do things with more ease and flow, and that's actually how you thrive. And that is a wonderful thing if we can really take advantage of it and harness it. Okay, this might be a funny one, but you know what? This really works for me. So if you want to feel more feminine and stay more in your feminine when you're doing whatever, being productive, whatever, look cute while doing it. For example, there is a difference when you clean the house, when you feel like you're a disheveled mess and you haven't showered in a while and you're all stinky and your hair's all knotted, versus you cleaning the house in a comfortable sundress and your hair is freshly washed and you just feel good. The first feels like, I have to get this done. I have to clean. This place is a mess. And the second one feels like, taking care of my home. I'm cleaning my kitchen. Oh, my kitchen's clean now. Isn't that nice? And if you want to feel more feminine at work, dress that way. You can still look feminine while also looking professional. And I'd honestly say that this is one of the best places to start because it's easy. It's not like this massive shift in your mindset. This is kind of just like you either put yourself together that morning or you didn't. And oftentimes feeling more feminine on the outside gives you that gentle boost that you need to feel more feminine on the inside. And when you feel cute when you're doing things, it just makes things more fun and enjoyable. So number 4, if you want to stay in your feminine, something really important to remember is that when it comes to work and productivity and getting stuff done, that not everything has to be a struggle. And I think we get this idea in our head that to get things done, or especially to accomplish these big goals that we have, that it has to be a struggle and a sacrifice to get there. But that doesn't have to be the case. Putting ourselves through struggle and suffering doesn't make us more deserving of that end goal or the desired output, whatever it is. In reality, we're just adding unnecessary hardship to our lives and taking ourselves out of our feminine. And if that's you, if you feel like you find yourself in this constant state of stress and suffering, I challenge you to ask yourself, why do you feel like you need to suffer? You can choose not to lean into stress and fear. That's not to say that all of our lives are just rainbows and unicorns and sunshine. Things happen and they come up and we have to deal with them. But most of the time, we are the ones creating our suffering. The feminine is all about ease and flow, so try to embody that energy even when you're doing things that are supposed to be hard. I used to do this all the time where I would find myself unnecessarily stressing and just causing myself pain because of the way that I was approaching my life or my work. And I had to remind myself that all this is doing is hurting me and draining me. If you can just decide that things can be easy and fun and light, then more than likely they will be. Next tip for when you're trying to be more productive, and especially when you're trying to make major moves in your life, stop trying to do everything. I repeat, stop trying to do everything. I can't tell you how big this one is, not just for maintaining your connection to your feminine side, but also just for productivity in general. If you try to do everything, you'll end up doing nothing. And this can be applicable for just those simple tasks that you have to get done, or for making huge shifts in your career or your life. Have your priorities clear and focus on the things that actually move the needle. There's this saying, I'm sure many of you have heard it, but it's something like 80% of the results come from 20% of the work, meaning that it's usually just a few little things that have the biggest impact, and all of the other things that you're doing are kind of just like not really helping you out that much. So focus on the things that actually bring value, whether that's in your life, in your work, in your home, in your family, or whatever it is, and stop getting caught up in tasks that just drain your energy, that don't actually really bring you much benefit. It's all about working smarter, not harder. If you want to stay connected to your feminine side, it is really important to make sure that you don't overwork yourself and overwhelm yourself, especially when it's not even warranted. And it's not that we can't handle the heat. It's not that we can't do it. But when we get in that state, and especially when we stay in that state, when we're just constantly overwhelmed with to-dos and all these tasks that don't actually really do things for us, all it does is take us out of our feminine heart space. It takes us out of that intuitive, creative, loving, empathetic energy that we naturally have. And this kind of brings me to my next point and goes along with, not overwhelming yourself. Remember that the feminine energy is the receiving energy, and you can use this receiving energy to your advantage. When you feel like you could use some help, ask for it. When someone offers to help you, even without asking, be open to accepting it. Lighten your load as much as you can and focus on the things that you're really good at and that you really love. It's not about just pushing tasks onto everyone else so that you don't have to do anything yourself. It's about knowing that you don't have to do everything yourself and allowing yourself to receive when you can and when it's appropriate. Like when you see those successful CEOs who've built these amazing companies, they are not doing everything themselves, and they likely built their business by investing in help and outsourcing certain tasks. Now, obviously in that situation, they paid for help, but the point is that to thrive, you can't do everything alone and you can't do everything yourself. You have to get comfortable receiving and letting go of that tight grip of control that we all want to have. Now, this might be a random one, but if you want to be more feminine while being productive, try to let go of excessive checklists and excessive scheduling. Try to embrace more of that freedom and flow. Now, don't get me wrong, it's great to write things down and have a sense of organization. That's very important. But I'm talking to all of my extreme type A people right now. The feminine is more wild and flowy, and being just completely obsessive with your checklist and having them be like 10 pages long, that's a bit much. There's a difference between keeping track of things and being responsible and being anal about it. And same with scheduling. If your schedule looks like 8 a.m., wake up, 8:05 a.m., drink my lemon water, 8:10 a.m., let the dogs outside, then you are likely forcing too much structure on yourself. And this does not open your heart. It doesn't connect you to your feminine side. It doesn't help you feel creative and flowy and playful. Sometimes it's okay to take things moment by moment, whether that's with your home, your personal life, or your work. Again, this is not about letting go of a checklist or a schedule completely. This is about just not overdoing it for a false sense of control. Allow yourself to flow and let go a little bit, and I promise you, things are still going to get done. Lastly, if you want to feel more feminine while getting stuff done, slow down. Just slow down. Not everything is a race. Instead, do everything with intention, do everything with presence and purpose. If you just try to frantically rush through things, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be work, it could be you making dinner, it could be you running errands. If you are frantically rushing, I can 1000% guarantee that you are not connected to your feminine. The world we live in tends to see this rushed energy as normal and honestly kind of ideal. But the world we live in also tends to not fully support the feminine. So we kind of just have to get comfortable slowing down in a fast-paced world. And I think something that might come up is the thoughts of, well, then won't everyone pass me up? Everyone will be faster than me. I won't get anything done. But if you do things with more intention and presence, your efficiency in which you do things will actually increase. And therefore, I've noticed that when I tend to slow down and just get really clear about the things that move the needle for me, that's when I make the most progress. So whether you're in your masculine or your feminine, like most things in life, it's not necessarily about what you do, it's more so about how you do it. And you can choose to come at things with a more feminine approach and a more feminine perspective. But remember how I said sometimes just looking cute is one of the easiest things you can do to get started and help you feel more feminine with whatever you're doing? Go check out this video, Easy Ways to Instantly Look More Feminine and Attractive. There might be some tips in there that you like. So I will see you over there, or I will see you in my next video. Bye.